Welcome back aboard Blurred Force One with your boy Mo, and this is the Supercast. The Supercast, where we talk about all things superhero and our pop culture media. That's movies, TV shows, video games. We talk about the news, do some speculation, all that good nerdy stuff. And we're joined once again by our good friend, Reed hater, but also comics aficionado. Of course, you know her and you love her. It's Polly of Co-Mixed. Polly, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Hi, everyone. It's amazing to be back here, and I think I missed last week, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think you were like,
Yeah, which is a shame. Yeah.
well, you were out
I was away,
living
busy.
an actual life and not being terminally online. So good for you.
Mostly plotting some things against Reed, but you'll find out. You'll find out in time. So, yeah.
Yeah. So you guys, welcome to the podcast. And before we get into it, you know what to do. Get down there, hit like on the video, show us some love. But man, superhero summer is going. Look, superhero summer officially started, in my opinion, with Ironheart, which did have its finale this week. And we have what is it? Superman is next week, so they're doing a full court press of that around the world, but also with some some websites and obviously Entertainment Weekly, all the usual suspects. And then we're getting in a couple weeks Fantastic Four. So, and after that, Eyes of Wakanda, Peacemaker. It's superhero summer is here, and it's looking pretty great. But we're not just talking about that. We're going to talk about what we've been up to that's nerdy since we've last seen each other. What you been doing?
Well, I finally visited my favorite comic book store, and I bought 5 issues of 5 trades of Something is Killing the Children, which is, if you don't know, no, not you, but if someone doesn't know, it is a series by James Tynion, the
Fourth,
right?
I believe.
Fourth, yes. And it's horror, kind of like in a Buffy style from Boom Studios, which that was the book that made me think that why didn't they ask him to write Buffy comics? They own the rights to Buffy, and that was a head scratcher. But other than that, watched Ironheart, of course. Was a little bit too late to the watch party and everything, and again because I live in Latvia, and but yeah. Disney Plus releases movies and other stuff like TV shows, new episodes at 3 a.m. here. So if you want to stay up to watch 3 episodes that are like 40 minutes long, you have to pretty much say goodbye to your job next day, which I understand it. It's understandable. There are sacrifices and stuff, but I just kind of was tired. So yeah, I caught up, and the show was amazing. Of course, we'll get to it. But I also read Moon Knight and caught up on the current comics. Not Unlimited, Jesus.
Marvel Unlimited.
No, Ultimate Universe, and
yeah.
of course, the X-Men runs that I read, and Hellfire Vigil.
Okay, yeah, I heard about that. You know what? I'm such a bad comic book reader.
I haven't finished it. I haven't finished it yet.
I know about these things. I'm literally like years behind on everything, so I don't think I'll get to that. Even though I might actually next month I might dive into the Ultimate side since they banked up enough of the issues. I can kind of roll through them. Since apparently the Ultimate Universe is sort of coming to its to what they've been building towards, I guess. I don't know. I've heard some things. Well, that's cool. You sound like you've been nerding out. I have, been doing my usual thing. I watched what was it, Jurassic World Rebirth yesterday. Hey, it's a Jurassic movie. It's I think better than the previous one, which was Fallen Kingdom. But I don't think it's
I
doing
like that one.
yeah. I don't think it's doing anything new or whatever. It's just well told, well presented, uh, Jurassic movie. With
Do they
all
have to do anything new?
no, it's all the tropes. It's Kong
It's
Skull.
dinosaurs.
It's Kong Skull Island in the Jurassic World franchise. I will say I think Mahershala Ali is pretty great in it, and also uh Marvel, why are you fumbling with him? I don't get it. Like, why are y'all fumbling with him? He's ready to go, and like, he's gonna go do other things, but like, y'all could be doing better. Also, I want to say what's the guy's name from Wicked? Jonathan, what's his name?
Bailey, I
Bailey. I
think.
think yeah, he played he. You know what? He's good in it. So I mean, I think overall, surprisingly, it
You
has.
know, you're saying he's from Wicked, but like he's
I know
from
he's from other
Bridgerton
things. I know he's
originally.
from other things. It's just I don't know those
Nah.
things. But it's actually, it's the kid. Like usually there are annoying kids in these things, but the
Oh,
kids were not annoying in this, and actually they sort of subverted some tropes, and I was kind of surprised at some of the storytelling.
you
There's
know
some.
what? When it comes to kids and movies, there's like I recently noticed that there is one thing I hate when kids say like I'm a kid. Have you ever seen a real kid do that?
Only when they're trying to make excuses for themselves, but no, this
Nah, not even that.
yeah.
They're like, ooh, and I'm grown up. I'm like 3. Look at me. But they never say I'm a kid, and they never use it as an excuse.
Right. It's a Hollywood affectation. But I think you
Hmm.
guys, if you like the Jurassic series, go see it. I think it's good. It's not amazing, but I think it's good. It's a good work. It's a good entry into the series. Besides that, obviously, I've been looking for a new anime series. Haven't found one yet to replace that. I did finally. I watched the. I was what did I watch? Lazarus. I'm still trying to get to the end of Lazarus. But I mean, it's been interesting. I kind of tuned out the final episode, so I got to go back and finish watching that. Beyond that, of course, everybody's waiting for Nerding on a Budget. Let me just say that this is probably going to slow down because, like, if some of you know who follow me on social media, I did quit my second job, and that was what kind of afforded me the ability to nerd on a budget. So I may slow down on this. We'll see. But I did get some pretty cool stuff in the last week. So I keep getting these. Look at that. It's Dave Cockrum. That's pretty dope. I don't even have, I'm running out. You see back there, I don't really have room for these. I have, as you can see,
You, you
I've got the,
always have room for this.
I'm going to find a place. I actually need to rearrange this room. There's too much stuff in here.
You just need a new
Yeah.
wall.
I'm gonna figure it out, but I've got to rearrange the room. It's gonna be a major undertaking. I'm still on my excuse me, my physical media thing. So this is not a nerd. These are not nerd things, but I don't care. I just like movies. I got Stomp the Yard, which is something you won't care about unless you're Black American. But remember when there was all those dance competition movies back like about 20, almost 20
Oh
years
yeah,
ago?
yes, the
This
Step
is
Up
yeah,
and
this is
the
yeah,
other one.
this was one of
I
those.
don't.
This is it's very specific to Black American culture, specifically college, Black American college culture. But it's a really good one. I got this. This is a sealed. It's DVD, but it's Chinatown. I've heard so much about how good Chinatown is, but I got this for like $1 at the thrift store, and it hadn't been open, so I'm really excited for that. But also, I'm so close to finishing my Blu-ray collection of the Infinity Saga. I got Thor here, so now I need Thor: The Dark World, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Iron Man 3. When I get those, I will have the Infinity Saga done. So that's really cool. I got some comics too. I have a stack of comics here that I just got. So I got this bad boy for $2 at the thrift shop. This is what to say, X-Men Golgotha, and I want to say this is Peter Milligan writing, Salvador Larroca as on art. That's cool. I don't even remember if I read those, but I was like $2. I can't beat that.
Kind of, it looks like Extreme X-Men.
It could be
Probably from the same era.
yeah. So I got Uncanny Inhumans, and
why though?
look, this was $2. I can't say no to that. And
fair enough. No,
I can't
have no more questions.
I also got new X-Men. So I bought this for this is $4.50. So of course, Grant Morrison, Frank Whiteley, Ethan Van Sciver, boo, but I mean he's this was before he was mask off racist. He was in the closet racist before then. But no, so you saw those. So that was a grand total of $8.50 for those three. But here's the steal. I got the first 5 issues of Nick Spencer's Morning Glories, which was a book that I've read a little bit of, probably, I don't know, when it was first running. But I got 5 volumes. They were $3 each. So I don't know if you've read Morning Glories, but it's
no,
they kind of it's styled sort of in like it back when they were trying to be like, these are like TV shows but in comic book form, and it's like these kids go to this special school, but they were sort of kidnapped there, and it turns into like a battle royale sort of situation. There's weirdness and like maybe sci-fi weird shit going on. At some point,
I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Yeah, at some point they time travel apparently, like in the third.
Why not? Why not? I mean, anything goes in this.
But Nick's, I want to say
this type of comics actually remind me, and you mentioned it, that they modeled themselves after TV shows. They do remind me of like early 2000s and maybe late 90s sci-fi TV shows, and that's kind of a whole vibe that it's pretty cool to sometimes just dive into a story like that.
It is. I mean, it literally, they were calling it season 1, season 2, so forth. But this is, and let me see if I can get the creators on here. So it is Nick Spencer, Joe Asma, I want to say, is on art. Yeah. So look, they were $3 each, and I cannot say no to, I cannot say no to cheap trade paperback. So doing really good on the Nerding on the Budget.
Amen.
So,
but also, like, thank you for the recommendations, because I'm definitely checking this out.
Awesome.
Sounds like something.
See, you know what? My good deed for the week has been done. So we're good. We are. This is Supercast. We are going to dive into talking about news regarding our superhero TV shows, movies, and video games. So this week, we have a good amount to talk about. For instance, we are going to talk about the passing away of Jim Shooter, legendary Marvel Comics and DC Comics creator and editor. Also, Pom Klementieff, could she be joining the DCU, and who would she be? The Boys season 5 wraps on principal photography. We get a first look at Wonder Man. First new looks at Wonder Man for Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's an interview by Payer Wait that revealed a couple of interesting nuggets for comic book fans, especially if you like certain Black DC heroes. We get a teaser for Eyes of Wakanda, and then we're going to talk about Ironheart. Will it get a season 2? And how it's kind of made a certain corner of fandom real mad, big mad, if you will. And then finally, we are going to review the final 3 episodes of Ironheart. So lots to talk about. Polly, you ready to jump in this?
Yep.
All right. Well, let's do this. So, I guess on a kind of a down note, we start off with a down note. The passing of Jim Shooter, who is, as I said earlier, kind of a legendary comic book, editor, creator. He had an interesting career. He was editor-in-chief of Marvel for during a pretty formative time, from 1978, I believe, to 1987, and essentially kind of got the whole operation back on track. He oversaw secret wars. He oversaw certain times of really interesting creativity. Frank Miller's run on Daredevil, Claremont. Like what was it called? The Fall, not Fall of Mutants. Inferno. There's a run on
Mhm.
Claremont's X-Men that were pretty important. New Mutants is another one, as you know. But also, I didn't realize this. I'd heard this story before, but I didn't remember it until I read the wiki. He actually started his career in comics at the age of like 13, which is wild. Which is wild as
But
hell.
kind of wild, but also it used to happen a lot more often because
Yeah. Hmm.
a lot of currently famous artists started out when they were teenagers.
Yeah.
And
I
they
think.
started working when they were teenagers. Even like Rob Liefeld, who is
Well, I think
never
what
developed.
I mean is wild is he was a writer. See, I mean, I could see maybe art if you were just really, really dedicated. He wrote stories and would
Or
send them
stubborn.
in. He would send them in unsolicited to DC until they caught the eye of the editor, and they actually gave him. So he actually was going through middle school and high school really, doing freelance, writing for DC Comics, which is crazy, but also like really kind of cool. He created some characters like specifically for the Legion of Superheroes. Like Karate Kid was one of his creations, which is interesting. Um, so he had a long career, but he passed away like this last week. I want to say he was 74 years old. After he battled esophageal cancer, and so there's a lot going on. I don't have I don't have a ton of opinion about him aside from just kind of marveling, pun intended, at his impact on the industry. Like Secret Wars is probably his baby, right? As far as I know. And that has a huge impact on Marvel Comics and the comics industry in general. So, what do you think about this, or really weigh in on him and his career?
I a lot of times when I think about like editors in Marvel and writers, creators who grew to be editors, I don't necessarily remember like any specific story. I do remember that I came across some maybe the traditional decisions. They're very questionable decisions in the whole. mm, well, story wise and character wise under his guidance, but overall, like when you look at these years for Marvel, this was the uh, well, it wouldn't be fair to say that those were the best years in the comics. Definitely wouldn't be fair, but those were definitely some of the most impressive years when the stories became mature and the characters became like more diverse and deeper. So that's pretty cool, and that's pretty decent legacy to leave,
Yeah.
I
Well,
guess.
on the downside, he was also, man. Well, apparently he was kind of a tyrannical. He had some beefs with several creators, you know, over messing around with their stories and what they couldn't say. Specifically, they note after Secret Wars, which it was a toy tie-in, but it turned into such a big ass thing, and it kind of shaped the way event comics worked uh, throughout the industry. It kind of shaped the way Marvel sort of did its business. He was also like responsible for like kind of getting them into the direct market. Not no more. Not newsstand so much, but direct marketing with Dazzler. But also, he had a policy of no gay representation, which was bullshit. Um, and North Star was closeted because of him. So It's look, was he the best? I'm not gonna say yes, but you can't deny he had a huge impact on the industry.
I mean, you can be talented, you can have a really huge impact. Doesn't have to be positive impact. Like
Right.
obviously, making characters closeted just because you feel like it because your own issues and like maybe your view of the market. I think that probably was one of the reasons.
Yeah.
That's weird and not cool. Obviously, I feel like that would probably. That is probably the reason so many Claremont's characters were not uh, well, also closeted, yeah. Because I'm trying to like remember, but I remember that it's not just that there are characters who he originally envisioned as LGBTQ, but it's that he wrote almost every character so ambiguously that they could easily be like LGBT or like bisexual or anything
Right.
else. Uh, so that was his approach to all the characters, and to work as someone who doesn't allow that and does it firmly, like that's probably uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was,
I don't
he,
know where
he
I was going
well,
with
no,
that.
I get it. He wanted, but he wanted what he wanted, and he didn't either because of personal conviction or just like thinking about the market and thinking about that bigotry would rule the day.
I think that
It could be
don't know
both.
for sure, but I think that it was mostly market because,
Yeah.
uh, again, the 80s.
Yeah, it could be both. Well, but he did write apparently, and also this is a real strike against him. Apparently, he did write a story with gay people in it, but they were a couple gay guys trying to sexually assault Bruce Banner.
Mm.
So I'm just like, he's probably homophobe. So, but all that being said, he did have a huge impact, and he has passed away. So hey, his legacy isn't perfect, but you cannot deny that he did change the game. So I guess rest in peace. So um, our next thing we're going to talk about the DCU, and this is a rumor and rumor only. I saw this come across, and I was like, sure, why not? Let's talk about it, just because I like the actor, Pom Klementieff. Could she be the DCU's Huntress? Um, we know she is friends. She's not just friends. She's worked for, and for years worked for James Gunn. And you know how James Gunn is. James Gunn's like he's like a Pokemon trainer. He's like
She's
Ash.
definitely gonna be there.
Yeah,
Like she's definitely in
and
some
something.
capacity or
Yeah,
another. She's definitely gonna show up there. That's something we
exactly.
know for sure.
Well, I say James Gunn, he's like Ash Ketchum. He catches them all. Right? He just throws his Pokeball out, and one of those actors from his previous movie hops out and goes at it. So,
I mean that is pretty cool because first of all, it's always nice when people like working with someone.
mhm,
They have the dynamic, and when they show up on set, they already know what to do, what to expect.
right.
So it's probably easier, and if it's easier to work with them, probably the result wouldn't suffer.
Yeah. Well, the
It's
idea
like
here,
Ryan Coogler and
Michael B.
well, his
Jordan.
guys,
Yeah, Michael B.
Michael B. Jordan
Definitely.
and Ludwig Göransson.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think that
yeah,
the rumor here is that this will be for a TV show for DC for Warner Brothers. And all right, I'm like, okay, down with that because I think James Gunn's and Peter Safran's approach with TV is a little more holistic than Marvel's is. Like I think they've seen what Marvel's doing. They're like, we're gonna approach this somewhat differently. It's gonna be actual TV shows, not movies cut up, and they're gonna cross market, but they're not required viewing. That's cool, and they want to drive traffic and views to Max and also HBO. All right, understood. What was interesting to me about this rumor is that they're talking about it will be a Korean language show, which I don't know if you get on streaming too much, and see this. Korean TV is like all over the fucking place
All over Netflix for
on
sure.
Netflix, on Prime Video. Like there's a lot of it. And I'm not this let me just say I'm big upping Korean TV. It's actually really fucking interesting.
Sometimes, yeah.
One of my favorite shows on Netflix at all, and I wish they would make another season, is a Korean period piece zombie show called Kingdom. It's awesome. But making a Korean language, because first of all, I didn't know that she was Korean, so that's my bad for not.
She's
But
I
she's
think she's
French.
Canadian,
I thought she was French or
and she's
something. Whatever. She's something.
well, I know that she's Canadian. I think that she has like different roots, of course, and
Well, but
probably
I think that's I first of all,
one
like
of
I
them
said,
might be.
I didn't know that, but that's cool. Like, and also I think it's cool that they actually would do a straight up Korean language show, if this is true, in the DC universe, which presumably will bring in some Korean, creators and writers and so forth. So, and this will be something that I don't think Marvel would ever think about doing. Marvel is America centric. It just is, right?
Well, it is. It does introduce languages and different cultures, but very slowly and very carefully. Like with Shang-Chi, it was the movie obviously was in English, but
Mm-hmm.
at least it was like a lot of Chinese, and that's something I
Do you
appreciate.
remember that Shang-Chi got a bit of pushback from Chinese audience? A bit of pushback because they were like, well, it's a Chinese American view. It's not a China, even though it's got Chinese language. It's not a China, and I get that. They don't have their Destin Daniel Cretton. His viewpoint is from a certain place, and he's American, even though his heritage is Chinese.
Yeah, but
But
they have a Black Widow movie. Her point of view is also American.
yeah, that's why I'm getting at is I find this interesting. I would look. I will hope this is true. This is a rumor. I hope this is true. Not just because I love her as an actor. I do. I thought she was really good in the most recent Mission Impossible. Not just because I like DC and I want to see, but I love the idea of expanding into an international audience creatively bringing in an internet. Imagine if Marvel brought in the guy who did Squid Game and said, "Hey, have at because do Amadeus Cho." I would and like bring your guys in, do Amadeus Cho, right, and make a whole little thing with him. I would fucking love that because we know that the guy that created Squid Games can fucking he can work. We know he can make good story. Bring these guys in. Don't just make it like, hey, we're Americans. It's all going to be America centric. I would love to see that. But I know this is a
As
rumor.
much as I agree with that, still, if you take comic books, they are pretty America centric.
Yeah, they don't have to be though.
Even
Look,
those were characters that like all of the characters eventually they go to America, they move to America,
mm-hmm,
they view things from American point of view.
right.
Most of them, they don't have the experiences that people in other countries have.
Mm-hmm,
It's entirely different. And when they write a character who's supposedly has like this different kind of experience, it still always comes out America centric, which is not bad. It is, and these are American comics. I don't
yeah.
know. That's pretty much what you expect from them.
I mean, if they make a freaking what is it? What's the Russian super team for Marvel? They make
Like, oh God, I forgot what they
yeah.
were
But
called.
if they
But
make that and it's just like a bunch of Americans writing, I'm like, get out of here. I don't want to see that.
well, if they make that and it's just a bunch of Russian writers, that's
It's not gonna be
still
good
that
either.
it's not gonna be good. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Russian TV and I've seen a lot of Russian movies, and they are not good.
No, well,
There
we
are like maybe like one every 5 years is
wow,
okay.
that's bad.
That's awful.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I hope that this is true. I feel like it's more likely to be true than not. So we shall see. We'll talk about it when we get more confirmation. Uh, a quick note here: The Boys season 5 has wrapped. I found out about this because on several people that are part of it talked about it. But we got information from the creator, and also why can I say his name right now? That plays Huey, but they all posted on
Jack
yeah,
Wait?
Jack Quaid. There you go. That's bad. I'm a fan of his. In many of the
Well,
things he does.
not a big fan
Yeah,
apparently.
apparently because his I blanked on his name,
Not the
but
biggest fan.
but yeah, Jack Quaid posted about it. But
Oh,
yeah,
Jake?
it's Jack
Is he
Quaid.
Jack or Jake?
It's Jack Quaid. Um,
Okay.
yeah, he posted about it on Instagram, and we saw some kind of pictures. This is the final season. They've wrapped. We're not going to get it this year. It's going to come out sometime next year, probably summer of next year, given the requirements for post production, and also just like separating itself from Gen V. I'm excited for this. I really just put this on this to talk about just because I'm super excited for the end of this series. Especially if you've read the comics, the fate of the fate
Honestly,
of
I
Homelander.
checked out that like I think I read 1.5 trades,
Yeah, I get it.
and I couldn't handle any more of it because it was so like shock value
It's edge
for
edge.
the sake of shock value.
Yeah, it was edgelord shit. Yeah, I get it.
Yes,
It
yes,
was
and it wasn't necessary, and it didn't didn't even do that right.
yeah. It
So the premise was fun, the idea was fun, and the show did things better in
yeah.
general.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a stressful watch. I already know that. But it's unlike in the real world, the bad guys are finally actually going to get their justice.
So pretty much everyone, because do they have any real good guys?
I mean, Starlight, Star, Starlight. Starlight's pretty good. You know what?
She ain't straight up evil.
The little boy, Homelander's kid.
No, no,
Well,
he's messed up already.
yeah, okay,
No, no,
you're right.
just
Yeah, you're
no.
right. Look,
He ain't gonna grow up right.
if honestly, they're just gonna destroy the world. But you know what? It'll give us hope because in the real world, we're at the part of the boys where at the season 3 or 4, we're at the season 3 part. So we still got some years until the Homelander gets his comeuppance in the real world. So I'm just excited about this. I just want to talk about it. Are you excited?
Excited. I do not know how the comics end because obviously I didn't finish them, but I'm excited, and it's kind of like always. I always wait for the whole season to be released, and then I just binge it, and it's kind of a wild couple of days, or like maybe a day,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to be in a special mood for that to work. You have to be like have your snacks, be ready to laugh at stupid jokes, be ready to laugh at like the gory stuff and all the like insides of people flying around everywhere. It's an event.
Yeah, I don't know how you do. I have to watch it week to week. This is it's too much. It's too much for to all go all in one time. Especially with Homelander. Homelander, whenever he's in any scene, I'm just like, please, my. I was just like, well, someone just like don't say the wrong thing. It's all. He's the most stressful character. I swear. It's like watching a scene with Michael Myers just hanging out in the scene, and you're just like just nobody make any sudden moves, basically. But I'm excited for this. I can't wait. Hopefully we'll get a trailer. So I suspect we'll get a trailer toward the end of the year. So we'll see. We'll talk about it then. We also got some new looks at Marvel's Wonder Man. It was a little I don't want to call it a trailer, but there was like a little snippet or something that showed.
Preview, yeah.
Yeah, that showed what's it, Trevor and Simon, Simon Williams, of course, the name of the main character, driving around in a car. We have seen no super anything in any of this. So you notice they're not putting any like any of his powers or whatever actually on
Superpowers,
this
yeah.
on display.
But they did the same thing with the Fantastic Four. They started with the
Just character
with
stuff.
just
Yeah.
showing them,
Mhm.
just characters and the everything around them, and then they just do boom,
Yeah.
everything, the
But
powers happen.
so yeah, we got this first look. First of all, Yaya Abdul Mateen, he looks great. But that's just because as a person, he's got a great look anyway. And also he's playing, it's like the difference between the other superheroes and him is he is an actor, right? I wonder how much of the movie, like not movie, the comics, they're gonna lean into it because he's the privileged son of a industrial titan, right? So he comes from money, and he's decided to be an actor, and then he eventually gets superpowers because of from a criminal source, and I'm like, how much of this are they actually going to do? So we see no powers or anything like that. We just see him and Trevor Slattery sort of hanging out. And you gotta want like I'm curious, what the hell's Trevor got to do with anything? I'm not opposed to it. I love Trevor Slattery. Let me go on the record.
Well, that's
Yeah,
okay, but that's really obvious. He's an actor.
yeah, yeah. I get that, but I'm just
He
like
probably taking like acting classes or something. I don't know.
I'm
Maybe
curious.
they work on something together. Although I wonder if Trevor actually gets any work, like normal work, because his last two gigs were like first pretending to be Mandarin and then like performing for the real Mandarin.
Right. This is some down and out in L.A. shit, like which is a movie from a long time ago, so you may not have seen it. But like, I feel like one thing that Marvel has not done yet, which every movie studio loves to do because actors and writers and directors. One thing they love to talk about is themselves. You ever notice that about Hollywood? There sure
Oh
are a
yeah,
lot of damn movies about being in Hollywood, about being an actor, being a director, being a writer, and the industry. One thing Marvel has yet to do is talk about what it's like to be in the industry. And this is their vehicle for it. And Simon Williams is a perfect vehicle for it too, because he's a dude that starts out villainous. He's like Hawkeye. Starts out villainous, becomes heroic because actually he's a heroic person. He just kind of gets his powers from a villainous source. And so this is their opportunity to sort of be like, oh, Hollywood is a weird place and everything like that. And they've got a good actor. They got a couple good actors. Ben King, again, Trevor Slattery, to me, one of the best characters Marvel's ever had. Even though he comes out of a movie that really like I like Iron Man 3, it also sort of pisses me off because of the whole bait and switch thing they got going. But his character, especially how he was lampshaded in Shang-Chi in such a great way. I love that. I'm curious because remember he went to prison. Do you think maybe he's the connection or source to Simon getting his powers? Like since he had
that
criminal
could be.
connections. I'm just curious, but this looks like it's going to be fun, and it's not going to take itself too seriously, which I don't think Wonder Man
Which
should.
is
Wonder Man should not. I don't think Wonder Man should.
that's true, but you can imagine like if it's gonna be like a show that is comedic, that is lighthearted and stuff. We're probably gonna have another wave of hate
Yeah.
because people just can't. They just don't want to have fun. They want all constant doom and gloom. They want to expect the worst. They want everything to be dark and edgy. I don't know. They don't want to enjoy things.
Well, it's
And I
yeah,
think that this could be the show that like could be just fun.
yeah. Well, it's
Also,
also
I do regret that Wanda's allegedly dead because like, come on.
yeah.
That whole drama, oh my god.
I think they sidestepped a lot of uncomfortable shit. That when you look back at the comics, you're just like, that's not. Don't why'd they do that? But
I think like the weirdest part was for me was when Wanda actually did date him. That was
yeah, just it's. I also I think that this is going to be overhated for an obvious reason.
of course.
For an obvious like I don't we're not going to get around because a black dude is leading this. That's why. And because Simon Williams in the comics is originally white, which is pretty fucking irrelevant to be honest. I mean, it's relevant, I suppose, in the privilege aspect of it, but
it's we're gonna see like at least well, actually, a lot of people who gonna pretend that it's like their favorite character and they actually care about him. And nobody ever freaking cared about Simon Williams.
Yep.
Ever.
Yep.
Not even Wanda.
They're gonna all of a sudden it's gonna be like the people that
he's gonna be like everyone's favorite character.
Yeah, it's
as if they didn't hear about him like last week.
They're gonna suddenly really care about him like they really cared about Slug, which I didn't even fucking know who that was until somebody showed him. I was like, this is an improvement on the character, like a vast improvement. So I don't know why y'all are so mad about, because they're black and trans. Okay, I got you. Non-binary, I got you. But they're gonna be mad about it. It's pretty obvious. Here's the other thing. Is Marvel gonna give it the Ironheart treatment? I think so. I think Marvel is gonna. They're not gonna bury the show. They're trying to get it to the finish line. And also, the other reason why they're not going to bury it is Yahya Abdul-Mateen is a bigger actor than Dominic Thorne. He just is, right? He's been in things. People sort of know him. He's been the lead of movies. So, they can't just like fucking bury this like they did Ironheart. So, I suspect that this will get a bit more of a push. But like, I still think it's not going to get the Daredevil treatment, is what I say. It's not going to get, pushed out like that. But we'll see. I'm interested. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this. So we'll keep an eye on this. Hopefully they'll have a trailer for it because this is coming out in December. So I imagine we'll have a trailer sometime in September or October.
Like so 2 weeks before.
Yeah. So we're probably a 2 or 3 months away from an actual trailer. But maybe we'll get a teaser in August. We'll see. We'll let you guys know when and if we get some information. So there was, the lead up to Superman means that people are asking James Gunn a lot of questions about Superman, but that doesn't mean they can't sneak in some questions about the DCU at large. And what is that? A YouTube channel called Pay or Wait. Never heard of them, but I'm glad that I kind of did because this came across my feed. Where a woman asked about, what's up with Nubia? Or, are we going to get Nubia in live action? To which James Gunn said, hey, we're talking about it because we want more diverse voices and people in our cinematic universe. And I will admit, I've never read any Nubia comics. I'm aware of her. I'm aware of who she is and, how she relates to the whole Amazonian, lore, in particular the fact that isn't she like a twin or something like that to Diana? They were created at the same time, so she is basically she's not a new character. So all these people that want to be like, oh, the woke writers.
I think she's like 5 years old at least.
No, Nubia goes back. Nubia's actually she's a character from the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. She's not new. She's not a new character. She's just getting some love because, surprise, when you let, writers and creators of various, diverse backgrounds start working on these, in these arenas, they bring forward characters they really love. This is literally what every comic book writer ever does. They have their 1, 2, 3, 4 characters they love that nobody else gives a shit about, right? And then they're just like, no, I'm putting them in everything. They are going to show up in everything. And y'all are just going to have to fucking deal. Right? So and that happens with every single writer. There is not one comic.
Do you think that what happened with Wolverine?
Well, I think what happened with Wolverine was he got big and he became a editorial mandate. But lots of people love Wolverine, so yeah, they stick him in fucking everything. But there are characters like Jim Shooter loved Dazzler. She showed up in fucking everything, right? For a while. And then some people really love Dazzler because of that. And so now here it is, decades later, she shows up in things. I'm not saying she's like but whoever is in
Yeah,
charge of.
but she doesn't. I mean,
I'm not,
I think that
she's not
I
ubiquitous. I'll say
don't
that.
actually know any Dazzler fans.
You know some Dazzler fans because they are writers. Like they just had a Dazzler
And those are the
miniseries.
only Dazzler
Yes.
fans.
And they get on and they put their favorite character in. So that which is this is no shade to anybody. This is what every writer does. They have obviously they know the mainstream characters that everybody knows. They get hired on the X-Men, they get hired on the Superman, but they'll throw in if somebody might just really love John Henry Irons, so they're like, I'm gonna tell them a motherfucking John Henry Irons story in Superman if I can help it, and they get it. So this is what's happening with Nubia. You get some black writers, particularly black women writers, who really like Nubia, and they in the last 10 years they've really kind of like raised her profile at DC, and so that's kind of what's happening. So, a black woman asked this question, and James was like, "Hey, we're looking at it. Because you got to remember, Wonder Woman is not set in stone right now, right? They're developing Wonder Woman. Themyscira, the whole Paradise Lost show that they're still working on, that's not set in stone either. So, I think that's part of what he's talking about. That they're talking about it, but I like that James is like, we're trying to get these new these other different looking faces at the forefront at the start of our whole universe. So that because, and I know I'm rambling a bit now, so I apologize, but it's one of the problems that my Marvel has right now. The chuds are emboldened because they're like, yeah, the first 10 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe are really white. Like really, like and no shade. A lot of the characters in Marvel are white, right? But there was not a huge push for diversity until within the last 6 or 7 years. And the pushback is because they're like, we didn't see them before. Why are we seeing them now? Well, James Gunn is sort of short circuiting that and being like, we're just gonna do this at the jump, so
But
you can't be bitching about
again,
it.
just just like we've discussed, what was it? It was about the superheroes being common knowledge. Again, what he's doing now, he's not only learning from their mistakes, he's starting it in a very different environment.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't have been possible. I don't think it would have been possible in 2008
Right,
with the same result.
right.
So these are. It's great that we're gonna get this DCU that is diverse from the get go, and that has room for all these voices, and that is not gonna empower the grifters and chats. But at the same time, we can't actually fault Marvel for starting out that way because it was again different times.
Yeah, it's weird to say different times about something that was like 15 years ago, but
Well,
the truth
still,
is, I
oh my
don't think
god,
I
15.
honestly I don't feel like it was so much different times. It's just like the people in charge have a perspective, have a very uh, specific perspective that, and they weren't thinking about like when you're used to being the majority and like your movies and always feature people like you and all and it's just normal. No one questions a movie that features primarily white people, but everyone questions a movie that features primarily black people. That's
Yeah, of
just
course.
so that's I mean Marvel.
We just saw that with Sinners.
Yeah, We saw that with Black Panther. We saw it with Iron. That is just the way it is. Like a primary cast that has almost no black people or any non-white people is never questioned. But so Marvel evolved in the environment that it evolved in. So it is the way it is for a reason. But that doesn't mean we can't, try to make it adapt and change. And I like that James Gunn, again, he gets, as you said, he gets to benefit from Marvel's growing pains and learning
Experience, yes.
to actually start out in a place that is less hospitable to the grifters,
Which
as you
is,
said.
it's kind of ironic because back in the day, Marvel Comics got to benefit from DC's years of legacy, and now it's
Yeah,
switching place.
I think
Kind of fun, kind of cool, and maybe I think that it's gonna be a positive influence on the popularity of DC Comics, which
I
is
hope so.
also great.
It would be nice, like in a way, to introduce a character like Nubia, such that, and it would be even cooler if they'd introduced her before Wonder Woman, just to like, so now you front load it, and now there can't be this complaining about. I mean, they can complain about wokeness, but they can't complain about them not ever being
Nobody
there. The
gonna be
character,
listening.
they're gonna do it anyway. But it really, like, you get the characters out front, so now there isn't this whole you're forcing this down our throat. It's just part of the universe, and you just have to deal with it or go fucking watch something else. So anyway,
But also, when it comes to DC, and we just said that maybe it's gonna bring some additional popularity to DC Comics, and we also discussed this a couple weeks ago that comics should focus on kids and teenagers, and DC does just that because they have a whole series of issues, not issues of comic book runs, specifically for young adult audience, like reimagining characters in the young adult years, and like for kids, like Teen Titans, Catwoman. They had Harley Quinn and like Mira and some stuff like that. So that's pretty cool because I read a few of those comics. Oh, and I think it was Constantine. Yeah, also I read a few of those runs, and they were amazing. And if I was a teenager right now, they would be like my favorite books probably, and they would definitely get me into reading more and more comics.
right. And that's getting the young people to like recognize that there's all sorts of people that are going to be in the DCU, not just white dudes, so that there's no complaint. Because one thing about this is the grifters and their followers who are my age, or maybe your age, because I know we're within 10 years of each other's age, is that these are the same motherfuckers that'll be like, it was so much better in the 90s when there wasn't any racism and no one was forcing things and down and blah. And I'm just like, you guys don't know a fuck thing. You were a kid and you weren't paying. You didn't know what to pay attention to, because
You were a white kid.
plenty of people complained about all sorts of shit. They complained about Wesley Snipes and Blade. They complained about movies like with a lot of black representation in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s. They did. They're all, the thing is, you didn't know because you were too young to be aware of these things. There's always complaints. So they're setting the table right now, so the next generation isn't gonna, when they start grifting, they're not going to be able to point to and say, it was different back then. No, it wasn't. You guys are just, you're just showing, you're taking your hoods off and showing who you are, which is fine.
I think they're putting their hoods on.
Well, we'll talk about that. So anyway, this is interesting. And also I forgot to mention also, this is just very quick aside. Surprise, no updates on Static Shock. I'm convinced.
Shocking.
I'm convinced that we're never getting the Static Shock, at least not, which is wild because he's basically what Miles Morales is. Like, Miles Morales is pretty much, I mean, I'm not saying exactly. Obviously, there are some
I mean, that
character.
probably one of the
They,
reasons is that they want to make it different, and I hope so. I hope that we're getting, but
yeah,
who
what
knows?
they're right now they have no, and I I feel like I saw a news bit about it, but I'm not sure about. It's kind of just stalled out. So I get that James Gunn is, he's focused on a bunch of things right now, but I need a creator on Ryan Coogler's level to take a hold of that, take a hold of and a responsibility for Static Shock and Milestone in particular, and really drive this forward. They need that. That's the thing is they need somebody of
I mean,
Coogler's level.
there is one problem though with that. That would be awesome, and like Kugler has ties to Warner Brothers now, mm, but Michael B. Jordan is a little bit too old to be playing Static
Yeah,
Shock.
well, I don't. I guess what I'm saying is I don't. The whoever's going to play him is whatever to me. Like they'll find somebody that's cool. I'm talking about a behind the scenes producer, writer, director, whatever, with the juice and the drive to just like do like Mike Flanagan, put a script in front of James Gunn, be like, "This is what I want to do. Here it is. Figure out how to get it into your DCU, and let's make a fucking movie." That to me, I think if you come to him with a good pitch and either a finished script or you like, I can finish this and make this work for you, you'll get it. So we need somebody. I'm not saying it has to be Ryan Coogler, but somebody on his level that can really take ownership of the character and, like I said, of the milestone side of the DC universe. Really take ownership of it the way that Ryan Coogler has taken ownership of Black Panther and the Black Panther adjacent titles, like Ironheart, and really drive it home. Get it to completion and use your prestige and your power to really make Warner Brothers actually work with these characters. That's all I'm saying. I would love to see that. I don't know who that would be, but I want that. So anyway, we'll see. We'll talk about more of that when we find out any information. We had a very short teaser for Eyes of Wakanda, and I just wanted your quick thoughts on this. What did you think
Looks
about it?
good.
It
It looks so good.
I love the animation, by the way. It looks amazing. I was also.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, no,
No,
no.
oh, I was just gonna say. Also, I was gonna do a reaction video to this, and I was like, "There's barely anything in this damn teaser."
Yeah.
Like I was actually I wasn't mad, but I was just like, "What the? I can't do a reaction to 23 seconds of footage. There ain't enough of anything in this. Besides, it looks cool, and I want more. I thought it looked really good. But and you can't see it because it's on my screen, but the image I'm using is that picture of the Dora, the one Dora in like the blue, the blue uh, uh, outfit, but the Dora behind her, and fucking looks amazing. Like I was like, man, those Dora look like they will beat John Walker like he stole something. Like they absolutely, they they look like you take those five Dora and match them up against the Thunderbolts minus Bob, and that's they going all five. They gonna whip the shit out of every one of them. Like that, they look amazing. And also, there's a bit where a guy he's got like a gauntlet or something, and it's got like that purple vibranium energy going. So this looks cool. I'm excited. I just wish this was an actual trailer and not whatever this was. So, are you? Does this make you more excited? I guess for the show.
Well, it does, but also it raises a lot of questions. Like, what is it we're getting? And I really want to know what it's gonna be. I really want to know. Like, I don't know if the episodes are gonna be like long or short. I
Mm-hmm.
guess they're gonna be like 20 minutes, which is
Boo!
for
Don't do
four
that.
episodes. Maybe no, it feels like a like animated movie or something,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool. But then again, split up into four episodes, weird. But I just want to know what it's gonna be, and I'd like to get like a deep story that is that is interesting. That is makes the lore richer. Pretty much,
Yeah.
just that.
Well, I feel like I hope it's akin to the whole Predator Killer of Killers, in that it's an anthology and then there's an overall, like the fourth episode is the overall story that connects the three of them, and they, whatever threat that they're facing, they all come together to deal with it. I hope that that's what it is. And I also, please make these at least 30-minute episodes. Don't be playing around with 22-minute episodes. Cuz then I'm going to question why on earth to do something like this. Why? Cuz at least with What If, you got, a season worth of episodes, right? But 4 episodes, like, you're shortchanging. To me, I just want to ask them, like, why are you shortchanging us on the episodes where it's, featuring black people with, black centric stories and stuff like that? I don't like the shortchanging aspect of it. All right, we already feel shortchanged anyway. Held to higher standards. Having to do 3 times as much to be considered equal. You know what I'm saying? We already got that. You're gonna give us less of this too. When, let's be clear, Black Panther is one of the most, outside of Avengers movies, the most successful at the aspect of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that is, on numbers alone, has to be true, right? On numbers alone, the Black Panther side of the MCU is hugely successful. So why are we getting shortchanged? That's all. But I'm excited for this. I'm sorry.
If I had to guess, it's just they don't want to like pivot from what they've been doing. They want to keep everyone happy, and to keep everyone happy, they have to have something for everyone, and that would explain all the like quiet releases and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well,
like we're giving you stuff so you would be happy, but we're just not promoting it, not to piss off the rest of us.
I think also the new mandate and also they're not saying it, but they're pivoting away from TV. Not away from it completely, but it's less important to their bottom line, because for obvious reason, it doesn't make money, not the way the movies do. So I'm glad that they're doing this, but I wanted this to be bigger. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what. Maybe this will lead into another, a part 2 or something, like season 2. We'll see. We'll let you guys know. Hopefully, I'll release a real trailer sometime in the next, month or so. Speaking of, a second season of something that I really want, will Ironheart get a second season? This is a good question, one that I think that we need to ponder, especially considering what
everybody who's seen the finale is asking this question.
Exactly. And this is not just that the finale said that, but what is Ryan Coogler and what is Chinaka Hodge, what do they have to say about a potential second season? And I also kind of want to weigh in on something that annoys the shit out of me about Marvel TV. About, like, what we'll get to about their second season deal. So Ryan Coogler says, when asked about if Ironheart will get a season 2 or if she will appear in Black Panther 3, he says, "I don't know jack shit." He said, "I'm here for whatever Chinaka's got coming at us next. Whatever Kevin's got coming at us next, you know what I'm saying. I think the audience is going to take that ending, and I can't wait to see those characters again." So that's what he said about it when he was questioned.
Yeah, but he can't say anything. Well, even if he does have something planned, he probably can't say anything.
Possibly. The head writer, showrunner Chinaka Hodge also says about the possibility of season 2, audiences will help make that decision of what happens next. So tune in and show Disney and the MCU that we have a strong fan base for Ironheart. Okay. That says, you know what that says to me? Between those two things, that says we are not getting a season 2. To me, that, and this is when
it's even more annoying because I'm thinking that it's probably not gonna happen, despite the fact that like #1 show on Disney Plus
Mm-hmm.
everywhere in Serbia.
Yeah.
Like, that's something I didn't expect. But when I turned on, opened the app, it was #1 show in Serbia.
And U.S. and the USA too, which is, let's be honest, #1 in the U.S. is actually what matters to Marvel Studios, because of numbers and because it's
Nah, right,
America.
numbers.
Yeah, we're America centric. It's just true.
Oh my god! Is that a bald eagle behind you? Is that an American flag behind?
Oh my
They just show
gosh.
up.
It's funny you say that because today is July 4th, and like I am absolutely not
Oh,
celebrating.
that's right.
I'm absolutely not celebrating. But
Well,
that's
what's there to celebrate?
yeah. But look, I talked about this on Threads, and this shit annoys me because this is not Marvel does not do TV. Like they don't do TV well. And I don't mean in terms of I don't like what they make. That's not true. I actually, generally speaking, there's only one thing I don't like that Marvel TV has made. No.
Secret Invasion.
Yeah, Secret. Ugh. I'm not going to start on that, but the point is that they don't do TV well in the sense of how TV is traditionally made. They won't invest in a fucking story for 3 seasons. They do it the Netflix way. They do it, let's see how it does and then maybe we'll make another one, which fucks up the whole distribution model because TV should be one season per year. And they broadcast TV in America does TV shows. They do 20 episodes per season every year, right? At the very least,
For
if you
20 years,
yeah,
if you're Grey's Anatomy.
or if you're Law and Order or something. But but even
Law
they
and Order.
even the worst performing ones generally get 6, at the least 6, but at least 13 episodes, and then they just get canceled or whatever. But they plan for a second season, right? Every one of these shows planned for a second season. And Marvel Studios, yeah, they may be like, oh, we want to set up a second season. But like Netflix, there is no guarantee. In fact, there's a good chance it won't happen. There's a good chance that they have to sit there and wait for the show to come out, and they wait for us. Like on Netflix, Wednesday. Remember Wednesday came out? Wednesday came out like damn near 3 years ago. I think it was like 2.5 years ago it came. It's finally coming back this summer. I think it's coming out in the next month, or this month maybe. But rather than the people that greenlit it and made it, they saw the whole show. They knew what they had, and they still waited. They waited. It was about 6 to 8 weeks before they finally greenlit season 2, and Wednesday was like big. Oh, who was calling me? Sorry, somebody's calling me. No, but Wednesday was big, and
it's Marvel.
No, but so you get what I'm saying? Marvel's doing the same shit. Like WandaVision probably should have had a second season, right? Falcon and Winter Soldier. Well, I'm saying like they could have made it instead of making.
It did have Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, but yeah, they led into that. That's because the TV shows are meant to feed the movies. They don't run until recently. They didn't run until like the last year or two. They didn't run the TV division like a regular TV studio. They ran it like it was an arm of the movies where they were feeding stuff into the movies. And that's not how you make TV. TV is supposed to be multiple seasons, right? But instead we get these one-off seasons. They're like, oh, we're gonna leave breadcrumbs that go into the movies. But they don't plan to have extra seasons, as opposed to Daredevil, which is more traditional TV, where they know they're going to have another season. We knew before Daredevil, Born Again premiered, that they were getting another season, and because we knew they were getting another season, they could kind of tell their story in a way that it was anticipating more seasons. Ironheart's not that way. Ironheart, you can tell they were like, oh, at the end of it, hey, some stuff. We left at a place. There's more story to tell. but it's not clear, and I think it's actually clear in the other way that they don't plan to have a second season, which is bullshit. Like it's bullshit because if you're gonna just tell a one-off story, finish it, don't leave dangling plot threads, and then move on. But they were actually like, no, we're going to leave them in a certain place, and we could have a season 2. And they're doing this Netflix thing, and it really annoys me. Like, it really, really annoys me. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think we're getting a season 2. And what do you? I just don't.
There is every reason to have a season 2 for this show. Definitely, like objectively, it was a great show. It did not end like on a definite on anything definite. It doesn't lead up to any movie we know of, except for like
Nope.
Doomsday, which is an ensemble cast, and it's not like something's gonna happen there that would highlight Ironheart or what she's bringing into the mythology and the lore of the universe. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure that this overheated hatred coming from the once again smelly fraction of the fandom, I'm pretty sure that it will give its negative effect, and
Mm-hmm.
this would be one of the reasons why Disney wouldn't want to deal with that anymore.
Yeah.
Because like if you don't touch shit, shit doesn't smell.
Right. I mean, it does, but like, less than if you step into it.
Fades away. Yeah, you shouldn't just stir it up.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but the again, this is a consequence of, well, there's two things are at work play here. One, a lack of confidence in your product. If you're confident in your, like, if they go into it saying, if they hire somebody and say, what do you have? Do you have 3 seasons worth of story here? Plan it out, pitch, plan out where your progression is. 3 seasons is Netflix's maximum usually for anything, and that's fine. But if they plan it as a 3 season deal, present it as that, and then invest in it at the start, and then just work hard to make it worth 3 seasons, we're good. But that they don't have confidence, and they didn't have confidence in this. For sure, because it's taken damn near 3 years to get this out. This remember, this was shot and done in 2023, so it's damn near 3 years for this to get to where we are now. And so them leaving a dangling plot thread when there was clearly not going to be any actual second season is like stupid. It's ridiculous. And that's also a consequence of it being a legacy product from before this new mandate. So I'm hoping that this just means we'll get better. No, the other shows will do get better treatment in the future, but this one, no. I can almost guarantee you, and I'll bet anybody $20. Anybody, $20 American. I don't know what that is in Latvian money, but $20 American.
It's nothing.
It's Doom bucks. That's what they're called. 20 Doom bucks. I will bet anyone $20 American or 20 Doom bucks, whichever one is less. We will not get a season 2 of this, no matter how well it does, because it doesn't fit in the plans. It does have a lot of extra bullshit because of toxic fans and racist fans, and because of the new way that they do TV at Marvel, and also because it's expensive. This is an expensive show, and you can tell it's an expensive show because of how little, how often they want her not to be in the suit. The shit is expensive. I hope we get a second season, but neither Ryan Coogler or Chinaga Hodge have given me much confidence in it. And also, haven't they just basically said it's up to you guys, the fans, to make this happen? There ain't enough of us. Sorry. There are just not enough of us watching Disney Plus to make this happen, this second season happen. Much as good as it is, there aren't enough of us. We're not a big, portion of the audience. So it's not, I don't think it's gonna happen. Anyway, that sucks. Well, we'll see. Let's keep hope alive, as Jesse Jackson said. So that brings us to another part. Before we do the review, this I'm gonna tell you, you don't see this. I'm gonna tell you this is what the caption says: Ironheart succeeds, and racists are crying. This is I don't want to belabor this too much. They mad. They big mad. All the usual suspects. Now look, I get it. The usual grifter channels, they got to make their money, and racist dollars are spent pretty well. They make good money. I can't knock the hustle. I don't like it, but I can't knock the hustle. They know their audience, and they know how to play to their insecurities and their racism, and they're making their money. Okay, do you? I guess. But boy, look, this channel's not big. This channel is small. Like I'm not. This is a hobby. I don't make any money at this. This is just something I like to do. But you would. I said something. I put a kind of a inflammatory, caption on last week's episode. It's semi-intentionally, but it is also how I felt. But I said, Ironheart's heart soars despite racist fans. And boy, so many people jumped in there and gave that episode views and had a lot to say. And I'm sure there's plenty of stuff in the comments. I sort of scrolled through it. I have to say, not sending their best and brightest, or as somebody said on Threads, they are sending their best and brightest, and that's what we get. A lot of foolishness in the comments. I also want to say I'm really disappointed in you racists. I got way more fun and interesting comments on my Acolyte video calling you bitches out, calling you losers out. They were way better. Like, so are you saying you guys aren't as good as the Star Wars racist fans? Because like y'all need to step your game up. I was thoroughly
same people.
Well, yeah,
it's just really hard. You have to consider that it's really hard to knock something down when you haven't seen it.
Yeah,
and there's only like so many ways. They brains are limited. They're not well educated people. They don't read much. They don't consume a lot of quality content, so they are not creative.
Yeah, and
there's only so much they can come up with.
They say the same shit. Like it's a lot of the same shit. There was a lot of white dudes pretending to be black in the comments.
Of course,
like
of course.
It's just
self-proclaimed black man.
I have to say, yeah. I have to say, as a black man, I'm like, every time I hear that, I'm like, you are not black, and I know for sure you're not. Like, just like you can get out of here with that. But that's what I'm saying. Like, look, the reason why I'm talking about this again, dunking on them is effortless. It's like dunking on a 2-year-old.
It's actually a little bit sad. Even it's like,
yeah, this is more like. And the thing is I'm not an apologist for Ironheart either. I'm just pointing out facts. Facts. Here's a fact. Ironheart was you said number 1 in Serbia, right? Number 1 on Disney Plus in the United States. In fact, I'm pretty sure it still is. Number 1, right? So most viewed on Disney Plus in the United States. Rotten Tomatoes, if I'm being honest, I don't give a fuck about Rotten Tomatoes. Could care less. Because other people liking something doesn't make me like anything. I like what I like based on how it makes me feel. But since they like to point to Rotten Tomatoes selectively, I just want to point out it's certified fresh. 80, I think it's, what is it, 80?
Yeah, but that's critics. Critics, yeah. Like actual critics, for the most part, they can't just show up and complain about things like too many black people.
Yeah.
Where is my token white man?
Yeah.
They had one, by the way. They had one.
Which yeah, and we'll talk about him later too. But I quite like him.
And this is why it's so different, because like if you look at the IMDb, which is currently, the score is like 3.7, I think.
Yeah, it's
And
pretty lame.
obviously you see in the comments that people, they didn't watch it, they didn't even try watching it. It's always the same things, and the same things probably were said by some grifter on YouTube, and
Yeah.
they don't watch shows, they just watch these YouTube videos.
Yeah.
uh, and that's just ridiculous to me, because it's just a really, really sad way of like living and watching things and experiencing things. It's like
They got too much time. They got too much time to do to
no, I mean, I don't think that it's a time problem. They have too much time. I think they have too much anger, and
hmm
they're not angry at like the black people or anyone else. No, they just don't realize it.
they're
Anger and
just
stupidity are
they're just I
probably the
mean,
fuel for that.
yeah, it's true, and that, like, they're mediocre in their lives, and they're mad about, like, there's a lot of other things happening. The what I find funny is it's all about fitting the, using data to match, to match what you already think, and then discarding what doesn't fit. Like, they'll be like, "Oh, well, look at the audience score." I'm like, "Yes, the audience score, which includes reviews that were posted 20 minutes after the show premiered, which clearly means you didn't watch the fucking show. Like, you absolutely didn't watch it." Or IMDb, look how low it is. Yes, which includes reviews from before the fucking show ever premiered. So, yeah, I've been on the record for years now. IMDb is, I don't listen to it. No one should pay attention to IMDb reviews because they can't verify that you watched it, and it's a bunch of users that have no accountability. You know, it's easily gamed. An easily gamed system is irrelevant to me. I don't listen. IMDb, reviews are useless. Rotten Tomatoes user reviews specifically on TV shows are equally useless because, again, just anybody can fucking go in there. And in fact, you know why you know they're useless? Because bots can go on there. If a bot can get in there and put in its 2 cents, who gives a shit about that fucking rating? I could care. It doesn't mean anything. In fact, I will take Geeks and Gamers or Nerdrotic. I will take their review over any fucking user review because at least there's a person attached to it. As terrible as the
It's not a
review,
great person.
well, as terrible as the review is, at least an actual person is attached to it. We know for sure on Threads, on X or Twitter or whatever, on Instagram, on all social media, on YouTube comments, there are bots in there. So why the fuck would I care about what a user review says, or the cumulative score of user reviews? Like, it's useless. But they want to use that as one of their metrics to show that it actually sucks. Okay, cool. Actual people, reviewers, whose job it is to watch shit and give their opinion about it, said it was, what is it? What was it, at 86% or 83, whatever. It was 80 something, 82, 83, 84% Rotten Tomatoes. So 83% of the people that watch the show who are professional reviewers, this is their job. They watch a shit ton of stuff, right? And they liked it. I'm not saying that they were like, this is the best thing ever, but they were positive. Okay. So now that doesn't matter because it doesn't match with your preconceived notions about the show. But their user reviews do. Okay. Well, what about movie, like, the Minecraft movie? Its user reviews are really high. Its critic reviews are really low. Whenever they're flipped around, now, like, what's right? You know what I'm saying? They're just saying if it discard it if it
They're picking
disagrees.
and choosing.
Yeah, discard it if it disagrees with me. And so I'm just like, all right, well, I'm going to use the same. You know what? I agree with you. Let's use the same principle. If it doesn't agree with what I already think, discard it. So I'm discarding all your stupid ass opinions. There you go. I'm right and you're wrong.
Discouraging them because they're stupid ass.
And I'm also going to use their framing or their framing of things and say that their opinions are objectively bad. Your opinions are objectively bad, and the measurement is because I don't like it. There you go. By my standard, I don't like it. Therefore, all your opinions about Ironheart being trash and woke DI, whatever, are objectively bad, and you're all objectively fucking stupid. And also, let's talk about the racism portion. A lot of them they took exception to me calling them racist. Well, let me tell you, my friends, and you're not my friends, fuck you guys. But let me tell you, if you have a table or 9 people sitting with one Nazi and none of them get up, they're all Nazis, right? If you are using the same language and high-fiving the racists that are clearly racist, talking about, and you're high-fiving them and thumbs upping what they have to say and using their same fucking language, I'm tired. I don't have time for this. I'm not going to sit here and try to parse and try to read your fucking mind. I'm not Professor X. I'm not going to spend my time trying to parse your language or figure out, are you actually a good person and you just don't? No, I don't have time for that. If you talk like a fucking racist, if you say the same shit and you're high-fiving them, you're hanging out in Nerdrotic and you're all cool with all of them, you're a racist. And if you don't like that, clean up your fucking house. Clear out all these people who, you don't like Ironheart because, it doesn't resonate with the character, whatever. But if you start throwing around DEI woke and all that, you're just racist. I don't have time to figure out whether or not you're coming from a good place. Clean up y'all's house. Get all the racists out of your fucking circles. Kick them out. Leave the circles. Then we can maybe talk about good faith criticism. But there's no good faith criticism when you're coming from that angle. All right, anyway, I'm done. Fuck those guys. You're racist. That's it. That's all there is. And yes, and I'm saying it straight up. If you do not like Ironheart to the point where you are going on and posting shit on random videos where people say they like Ironheart, then you're a racist. You are straight up a racist. I put out the bat signal for racist ass fans and you fucking answered. So, just own it. Stop being like a fucking coward and just fucking own it. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to rant like that.
Nah, that's good.
Anyway, you guys suck. We're gonna move on to talk about the we're gonna move on actually talk about the show. Episodes 4 through 6 review. We were running long here, but that's okay. We are gonna get into the ending of this. There may be mild spoilers in this. I'll try not to spoil. I will just say, on my side, I did not like these as much as I liked the first 3 episodes, but there was some pretty monumental things going on. I think I think the finale is not as good as the rest of the show, but overall I like the show. And also they said the thing. Polly, they said the thing.
It's iron in time.
Yeah, Polly, they said it. The guy, he said his name. They said the guy's name, and he showed up.
No, I know.
And let me say, also, I would like to say, when he showed up, I was like, "Hey, it's Mephisto." That's what I said. Hey, it's a very good Mephisto. I couldn't help it.
I spent like 3 minutes trying to figure out, is that guy? Or like, is it somebody who looks like him? But seriously, it was a great. I think it was a great choice, a great performance, and in general, it was kind of like gave me the vibe from when Mephisto was on a date with Amara, which is one of my favorite moments from New Mutants. It was like, God, I think it was when they lived in San Francisco, so it was during Utopia.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that same vibe of a guy who is sitting there talking about how he does a lot of charity because charity actually makes like people, I think it was live longer or something, so they have more time to sing.
Smart. This is a guy with, this is a guy we need him, and we need him running the country. Uh, no,
I'll do.
look, I quite liked. I already said last week, but this show is blackety black. Especially if you're Black American, you really recognize it. I enjoy that aspect of it. In the fourth episode, when we actually see the magic show up, my God, I love that. I did. First of all, Cree Summer is a treasure. Of course, as she's a voice acting legend, but also just as an actor, she was incredible. Like in her small role in that, we got to see Zelma Stanton, which I don't know the character, but I want to know her. The I don't remember the actor's name, but I really quite liked her and her performance.
She was like from a comic book page.
It was very.
That was awesome.
The whole magic aspect. They name dropped Camertage, which was dope, fucking dope.
They did name drop Strange too.
Yeah, they name dropped
and Casillas.
Yeah, they name dropped Casillas. Dormammu was up in there. All the magic stuff. I loved the Hood, like Anthony Ramos, and they. Thank you for not doing the Marvel Cinematic Universe thing of killing off the bad guy. I fucking hate that. I think he was really good. And here's the thing. Parker Robbins in the comics. Now, I'm not a hugely knowledgeable person about Parker Robbins. He was a bit more of a 2-bit crook that suddenly gets really, really powerful. And he uses it to, he gets all the power in the world and does what a 2-bit crook does, which is just reach for more money and power.
More
right?
crooking.
But there's an actual story to his background is interesting, and like you get a bigger understanding of who he is. Riri, she goes on a hero's journey, and it does not end where we expect it to end, right?
But then again, that's one of the best parts, I think.
They do a lot of good here. Like I said, I feel like I was a bit let down by the ending, but that's only because, though, as I said before, I don't think we're getting a second season.
The cliffhanger.
Yeah, I don't like that.
There is this. I like the ambiguity of it. Maybe if it was a little bit more definite, but still left ambiguous, that would have been better. So it would be like the ending, but an open ending. I did love the way it ended. I did love the way the story went and the way it was really unexpected. And I mean, on some level, it was unexpected because they did change Riri's character a little bit from the comics. Well, actually, quite a lot. But at the same time, it kind of feels like something she would do. And I love that she's not a superhero. Like, she doesn't do any superheroing in her show. And it has nothing to do with, like, the work complaints about, like, how is the Iron Man's legacy, yada, yada. It has nothing to do with Iron Man's legacy. She's doing her own thing. Suits are means to an end. They're not, like, a representation of her or anything. They're just tools, which is what they are. You don't have to be like Iron Man, or you don't have to be your suit, which actually has more to do with Iron Man's legacy than the suit itself. But I love that she is living. She's doing the things that many of us, if we had the same resources and, like, I mean, intellectual resources, a lot of us probably would do the same thing. It's really nice that people think that they would be so morally spotless that when the time comes to make the choices, they would choose like not to get involved with criminals, or like not to do the other things that she did, or maybe not even to like kill someone when they're attacking you and when they're trying to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
No, most of y'all would not be heroes in these situations. Most of y'all would run like bitches from this situation. But and if you don't, you would try to like do the you would do anything to survive, and you would probably try to do anything to succeed. Stop trying to pretend to be heroic. So yeah, in this I think that the show was really realistic, and I appreciated this a lot.
Yeah. I think not just having a flawed hero, but a hero that doesn't always make the right choice, that isn't driven by guilt, because they don't have this Peter Parker guilt. They don't have the come to Jesus moment that Iron Man, that Tony Stark had, that sent him on his journey. They didn't start out as a paragon of moral good like
And
Steve
they all
Rogers.
still made
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
decisions and bad choices.
But like this is this. I think this show, intentionally, unintentionally, I'm not sure where their mind was, but it's tackling what I think is a pervasive, um, truth about the Black American experience, and in particular Black women, is the need to be perfect in order to be considered, you know, normal or whatever. Like you can't, because there's this thing about Black Americans are always like, if you do bad, then you're a reflection of the race itself. And so this is
Grow up with exactly the same thing.
yeah,
If you do something bad,
it's
this is like
all Black people.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It reflects on everyone. Yes, because like for most people there in Russia, like the only black person they knew was me.
yeah, exactly. And like, so you're all Black, and then but if you're a white guy and
And you grow
you
up
do,
with this feeling of responsibility, like you're
hmm
responsible for everybody's action. If one of
oh,
us does something wrong,
you have to answer
it's
for it.
like
Yeah,
it reflects on all of us.
yeah,
Yes, and it takes a lot of work to actually come to the realization that it's not true.
yeah.
It's
Well,
it's not supposed to be like that. Even if it's true, you don't have to carry this on your own.
exactly. And this, and that a lot of the criticism was, there's a lot of double standards of her, and you've seen the rebuttals to the foolishness. The thing is that if you're a white dude, she's given a lot more slack, because white guys can fuck up and they aren't a reflection of all white men. But a black, yeah,
Like I said, not just that, but people were attacking her and saying like she's an unlikable character. Why is she so arrogant?
yeah,
Same people who like Tony Stark, Reed Richards,
exactly,
Namor, even like in the
yeah,
comics or whatever,
exactly,
and other arrogant characters. There are
yeah,
a lot of them, and for the most part, that's something that a hero needs to have. A little bit of arrogance, because how are you gonna walk into a battle like for your life and have a lot of self-doubt?
right. Well, how are you gonna, more to the point?
You
How
ain't winning.
how are you gonna put on a suit and say I know better and that's why I'm showing up to do this thing? That's really kind of what it is. Now, again, you spoke to her that she didn't do any heroing. That her, because her motivation is not about being a hero. She that's a
I mean,
that,
in a way, it is, because she wants to save people before something bad happens to them.
right, true,
That's a heroic intent. That comes from her trauma, of
right,
course, of when she lost her best friend and her stepfather. But at the same time, to do that, we actually witness in her journey the way she comes to becoming the hero.
right,
She doesn't become the hero by the end, which she probably was supposed to.
right,
If we had yeah, that second season, that probably would have happened. But that is a great story.
Right.
That is a great story full of conflict. And the funny thing is, those same people who complain that nothing is earned for female superheroes and for like superheroes of color, mm, they complain that nothing is earned, that we didn't see your journey there. Well, there you go. You saw her journey there.
Yeah. Well, that's because it's just goalpost moving. I do.
Of course.
I think my thing of this show, I think it succeeded in, not like I said, it's super black, and it really showing a really uh that this is a different perspective, because we've seen black people in the MCU. We've seen Sam Wilson and his family. We don't really see James Rhodes. We don't see Rhodey much. Not really. We saw Monica and Maria Rambeau, but for the most part, and Black Panther. But that's it's not really Black American. It is in some ways it is. But to really see this aspect, to see Chicago as an actual place, a real lived in place where that's specific. I like that. The dynamics between her and her mom. Her mom's, you can tell her mom is
That's so amazing.
her mom, let me say, her mom is a newer generation mom. She's not like a someone that grew up in the 70s. Her mom clearly is like probably 40 something, 45, 46, something like that. And she has a precocious fucking genius kid, and she's trying to give her space, but also she's trying to mother and protect her. So there's all of that. There are some themes in here that have already been touched on in other MCU areas and were applauded, right? Natalie as an AI that's shades of Vision, right? That's shades of Ultron. That's how is she a real person? Is she, what is she, right? All of that, the whole Natalie thing. There's a bit where I forget the guy's name, but he finds out that his sister is an AI, and he's repulsed by it.
Xavier.
Right? Exactly. Thank you. And that's an interesting thing that they put in there, right? The Hood's journey as character journey is a real character journey. You're seeing him from why is he doing what he's doing? When he finally achieves his goals, they even kind of like criticize him. You achieved your goals, and what are you doing, right? I'll also say Alden Ehrenreich as Ezekiel Stane is the best token white guy ever. To me, he's clearly a token in the same way that Everett Ross is a token. But unlike Everett Ross, if you take Zeke Stane out of this show, the show doesn't work. He's an essential part of it. You take Everett Ross out of Black Panther, the same shit's going to happen, right? So it's right. You get what I'm saying? So and also these chud grifters should be happy about Ezekiel Stane. I think that his journey, he's going to be a villain, but he comes about it honestly. He's a good guy wanting to do good things, but also he's kind of like Bruce Banner. He's got a side to him that he has not allowed to come out. And now that it is, he's got a beef with Riri. And they're gonna have to play it out at some point. He's got beef with her for real.
And it's such a comic book thing too, that she lets him go, he lets her go, and he's like, we're not done.
Yeah. And she creates
it. That is the essence of comics, because like how many times we've seen this on the actual pages. It's always like, till the next time.
Yeah, she creates her I will assume it would be her primary villain in the future. She creates him, but they are coming from a place of common understanding. And that they were even sort of friends, right? Even sort of friends. So I think Alden Ehrenreich, who I think is an underrated actor and he needs more work, but I think he's good. He's really good as Ezekiel Stane. And I'd really quite enjoyed the whole crew, even though their ability to switch up on Riri was cool. and they are still at large in the universe, so we can see them again. Thank you, Marvel, for not just killing these guys off, but letting them still be out in there so that someone can pick them back up. That is a comic book thing. Don't kill these people off. You can bring them back in. Wouldn't it be dope? I'm not saying they're going to do this. Wouldn't it be dope if their next thing, their next job, if they decide to be the circus of crime? That would be. I'm just saying. Look again. I'm a bit let down by the finale, only because their technical limitations. They can't have a big awesome fight, but the fact that they threw in, the name, they threw in all that magic. They really left Riri in an interesting place where she went left when I thought she would go right. Right? She went left. I thought she was going right. I didn't love her decision, but that's the great thing about good storytelling is a decision can be made narratively that you don't like, but that can, it can set the stage for more interesting things down the line because you got to see the vision down the line. It's in the very same.
The only issue that we have actually with her decision is that lack of season 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I remember it reminded me while I was watching, it reminded me of like Angel season 4 finale. Mm-hmm. When I don't know if you've seen that
I don't
show.
watch Angel, but yeah.
But okay. But there was a similar issue where they had to make a deal with pretty much with the devil, had to and they of course and they made the deal. And you had a whole season ahead, so you knew that somehow it's gonna come back to bite them in the ass. And this was exciting, and this was the best decision that could be made narratively. And this is the same situation, except if we don't get any continuation, that would be a big question mark. But if you consider it as a part of something, as a story that is not finished, this is amazing. This is great because throughout the whole season, she was pretty much fighting the person who made this deal. She then
takes his
had
place.
The opportunity.
Yeah,
and she takes his place. And
a real
this
Anakin
is great
Skywalker
storytelling,
deal.
And kind of in a way, yeah. But this is great storytelling, and this is what comic books are about. This is what's probably been missing from many of the shows, because you can try to do like that's an actual arc. That's an actual comic book arc. It feels like several issues.
Yeah.
And again, not entirely surprised by her decision because she just recently wore 10 rings in the comics.
Well, I think she. Look, I didn't love the decision, but I understand it, especially considering they pretty well explain why she would, right? But as I explained it, she thinks she can outsmart this. She thinks I'm smarter than Parker Robbins. I can figure out a loophole. I can get out of this, and she's gonna find out.
And I love that because it does fit her character.
Yeah,
the character we've met in Wakanda Forever, the character we've seen here, which is, by the way, the same character. Like there is no difference in any way. You see that that's a continuation of her story there.
Yeah. She's
and it fits her. This decision fits her perfectly.
She's driven
from what we know about her.
She's driven by her trauma. She's driven by her need to never hurt again, right? So to build armor that will make sure she never hurts again. And
she's been kidnapped by Namor, by the way.
Yeah,
but let's not forget that. So how is that working out?
Yeah, she's like the decision makes sense, even if I don't agree with it, because I have a lot more I have a lot more information than she does. But also, she's a genius that is convinced she can think her way out of any situation, and also this deal gives her what she was searching for the entire episode, which is the resources to realize her dream. she like her dream of the armor, but really the dream of getting back something that she lost, right?
Yeah, and that's not something that most characters in the universe can do.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that we've dealt with that in WandaVision, in
Hmm.
Agatha.
Yeah.
That's something that no one else can do. So that's probably the only entity that can actually do this.
Right.
And she has no idea what she's gotten
Right.
herself into, of
But
course,
yeah.
but we do.
I,
And again, I think I've mentioned this on Threads, but I loved how it was pretty much obvious from the moment when she was standing outside the club and talking to Natalie about Parker, uh, and there were Faust posters behind her.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So
That was
yeah, you
that was
saw it.
so good. Yeah,
I'll also just like as a last note remind everyone
it's
that
one of my favorite
yeah,
books. That's why.
I've never read it because I'm an uncultured American.
My mom used to read it to us when we were kids.
Nice, like be good or else. No,
No, like just
just
don't mix up with Mephistos or anything.
right. My last thing, and this is just to remind people, like to understand that if you're gonna be talking shit about Riri her decision, just remember Ghost Rider also did the same. Ghost Rider is only
Also,
empowered.
remember that your sorry ass would do the same thing.
I mean,
Put yourself in her place. Like most of y'all would do that for just
yeah,
money.
yeah, or and he even said like I've got all of the Fortune 100, they're all on my thing. So but like
Oh my god, it is so
I
obvious.
was like, but I'll just remember everyone, Ghost Rider literally is empowered by a demon. By I forget who the demon is. He's literally empowered by hell. And when the Ghost Riders die, where do they go? Okay, just so y'all know. Anyway, I think this is really good. Some people say this is like top 3 MCU TV shows. I'm not gonna say that, but it is one of the better ones. I think it.
Well, top 3. Oh
I
damn,
wouldn't say that.
it's hard to decide because like if I had to list my favorite shows, that would be probably almost all of them.
I like all of them, but I wouldn't put it top 3. But it is one of the better shows. It's one of the better
What
shows,
is
I
your
think.
top 3?
I will say Miss Marvel, um, WandaVision, Loki. There you go. But
Mine would be probably WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and ooh, well, this is where shit stuff because I loved Agatha, but I loved Ironheart too. And then there's like Moon Knight and stuff like that. It's so hard to choose.
I think
But
after
like,
after the top 3, I think they're all have a pretty similar quality, and it's not even really a fair thing, just because I think some of them, even in my top 3, I think there are some shows that do certain things better. Like I think Daredevil Born Again.
oh my god,
I
yes.
think Daredevil Born Again. It's not in my top 3, but I think in some ways it's a better story than like Miss Marvel. I Miss Marvel is a vibe to me, but also I like the character and the story. But I think Daredevil Born Again probably has a better story. So but that's just me. I'm just saying. But look,
For
Ironheart's
me, like I
yeah,
said, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is one of my favorite shows because of the story they did and because of the like how again it's a slightly different vibe, but it's the same vibe as Captain America movies.
yeah.
Kind
So
of continues that.
I think Ironheart's it's a worthy entry into the MCU. It's doing well, I think, for a good reason. I would love for this to be a sign of the things to come, but I don't think that's true. And maybe we'll get a second season, but probably not. So we'll see. Anyway, I think those are all of our thoughts on Ironheart and all of our thoughts on all of our news for this week. So this is a very long episode, but you know what? If you stuck around with us this long, we appreciate you. Somehow, if we miss something, or you want to agree with us, disagree with us, troll or say something nice, whatever the case may be, get down there to the comment section and leave your thoughts. And of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, blurred_force1 on Instagram and Threads, and super_not_funny show on TikTok. And while you're doing that, do me a favor, get down there, hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. All that good stuff helps to grow this channel, helps more people to see this podcast and all of the other content that we make on Blurred Force 1. And of course, couldn't do this by myself. I needed Lockheed to come in here, breathe some fire on all of this stuff. But no, need Polly, Polly to come in and give us her thoughts on all of this nerdy stuff. So, Polly, where can they reach you on social media?
Once again, as always, core_mixed on Threads, on Tumblr, and on Instagram.
Yeah, go check her out. Show some love, subscribe, leave some read love on her. on her stuff. I'm sure she'll appreciate it. Like, for instance, did you see Snick Bamthwip, who is amazing Marvel Legends collector? I don't know how he affords it.
Yeah,
he's got to be rich, because god dang it, he's got everything. But anyway, did you see he's starting to get the Fantastic Four first steps? And he's got your favorite character, which apparently has interchangeable arms.
Freaking Richard.
Those interchangeable arms are dope. I'm not jealous, but I am a little bit. That his collection is dope.
I'm very jealous.
His collection is great, and I really liked seeing those Fantastic Four first steps figures. So anyway, this has been episode 187 of the Supercast. Thanks for joining us. Come back next week. I think we're going to be talking about Superman. We're going to be talking about We got to be talking, because Superman comes out next Thursday, and we are going to record on Friday. We're definitely going to talk about Superman. Did it fulfill the promise that we've had? All of our anticipation is very high, and we're going to be very excited to talk about it. So until then, I've been Mo, your comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by my good friend Polly, and we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.